Alright guys, so I recently just watched Talk to Me for like the very first time, believe it or not, and let me tell you, it has not left my mind ever since. Obviously, I know I'm super late to this movie, so I know anything I say has probably already been said, but I was just really impressed with it overall, so I really want to share my thoughts on it. So as you may already know, the main plot of this movie involves a ceramic hand that apparently might actually be an embalmed hand that once belonged to a psychic, and this group of teenagers basically treat it as like a party drug almost. They do this little ritual where they light up a candle, someone grabs a hand and says, "Talk to me," which then allows spirits to like manifest in front of them. And then the big part of this game is the fact that when you say "I let you in," they let the spirits possess them for like 90 seconds. At least those are the rules in the movie. And like the entire movie, this group of teenagers basically treats this as like a party game. They don't really think about the consequences at all. But the more the movie progresses, the darker things get. The main character, Mia, is dealing with the loss of her mother. And as you can probably imagine, it starts taking a really big toll on her. For one thing, I just think that this is a really awesome concept for like a new take on the possession movie. I really love the way that it treats possession as like an allegory for like addiction and like substance abuse. And I've also seen the directors of the movie mention that part of the reason they chose a hand to be the centerpiece of the movie is because it kind of represents like connection, not only just like connection to like the spirit world, but also just like human connection. Because at the beginning of the movie, that's very much what Mia is seeking out. So it does make a lot of sense for her to really fall into the trap of this like game and this addiction that is possession. But the places that this movie goes, I was not expecting. It is a horror movie through and through, but I did really appreciate that the drama elements were treated with just as much care. It has an emotional through line that really makes the horror elements hit you that much harder. And no spoilers, obviously, but the ending of this movie is probably one of the best endings for a horror movie I've seen in a while. There's so many little details that are sprinkled throughout the movie that come together so fucking well at the end. I was fully prepared to give this movie a 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, but that ending just like made me bump it up to a 4 because it was so fucking good. And it really made me want to go back and rewatch the whole thing from the beginning just to see if I missed any other little details. I also just find the whole story of Danny and Michael Philippou directing this so inspiring. I wasn't familiar with their YouTube channel Rocka Rocka before watching the movie, but I always love seeing YouTubers succeed in film like this, especially in the horror genre. And for a debut feature film, they fucking knocked it out of the park with this. It's such a solid script and it's directed so confidently, and you can really tell that they had a very specific vision for it too. I've already listened to like a few podcasts with them, and they mentioned that they pitched it to a few studios, and one studio really wanted it, but then they backed out because they wanted to change it too much and they didn't want to compromise. So that's why they decided to fund it independently and make it in Australia. And honestly, the fact that the movie is so deeply Australian to its core makes it even better. It kind of makes it feel even more fresh in a way. But yeah, you can just really tell that they had a very clear vision for this. It's definitely one of the best original horror films I've ever seen. I love the concept of like the hand and like possession being like a party game. And also the hand itself is just a really fucking striking visual. It's so fucking cool. And at the end of the day, it's just a really great movie about like grief and like dealing with loss and like addiction and shit. And it's all just done super fucking well. I'm definitely excited to see what they do with the sequel, Talk to Me. Genius title, by the way. There's definitely a lot of questions that are kind of left unanswered, especially regarding where the hand came from. So I'm very interested to see more of that. And also the concept just lends itself to a sequel in my opinion, so why not? But I definitely am excited to see their next movie bring her back because the trailer for this looks fucking sick. But definitely let me know what you guys think of Talk to Me in the comments. Again, I know I'm super fucking late to this movie, but hey, I'm here. I fucking love it. That's all that matters. It quickly became one of my favorite horror movies of the last few years, and it still hasn't left my mind, so that says something.